Hello, everybody. John, by the way. So this is the rest of the stuff I picked up at the nursery. We've got some butternut squash, some cucumbers, because like an idiot, I forgot to start mine. Two varieties, martini and Japanese burpless. Some golden glory squash, as well as butternut squash, which I don't remember if I said that already. I picked up mini pumpkins. This is fun. Focus, there we go. Yeah, pumpkins. Tiny ones. I like tiny pumpkins. Let's see. Hubbard squash. I'm going to use that as a trap plant. In case you're not familiar with what a trap plant is, it's a plant that you put in the ground in the hopes that it will attract the insects that you don't want bugging your other stuff. So pretty much everything that is a pest of squash loves Hubbard squash and will usually flock to Hubbard squash before anything else. So I'm just going to plant this Hubbard squash away from my garden, and don't know where yet. I'll figure that out soon. Heck, I could just plant it in a bag and stick the bag somewhere in the yard. It doesn't matter. And yeah, keep that away from everything. It'll be good. So let's see what else. Abe Lincoln tomatoes. Got a couple of those, which is a variety of tomato that my neighbor recommended to me. I'm going to try those. It's a slicer. And pink brandywine tomatoes, because they are supposed to be fantastic. Never had them. Over here, we have everleaf emerald basil, which these columnar shaped plants don't spread very much. They only get about 6 to 12 inches wide, but they get up to 3 feet tall. So, and of course, each one of these has a whole bunch of babies on the inside, as you can see. That one's got 3. Well, actually, that might have been 4. Each of these has at least 4 in them. So I don't know if I necessarily need, a dozen 3-foot tall plants, but yeah. Oh, and then the two over here, ghost peppers. They are the my golden ratio of flavorful pepper to spice ratio. Anything spicier than this tastes awful. And also, once you get hotter than ghost pepper, I mean, what's kind of the point other than to be like, yes, I can eat stuff that's super hot. And I mean, you can do that with ghost pepper too. You could say the same thing, and I'm sure a lot of people would, since ghost pepper is what? A jalapeno is like 10 to 20,000 on average, and a ghost pepper is just shy of 1 million, or right around 1 million, like 850,000 to 1 million Scovilles. So ghost peppers are way hotter than jalapenos by far. I can eat ghost peppers raw. They're fine raw. I don't dislike them raw, but they're pretty spicy. So that's not the best use of them, in my opinion. The best use of them, in my opinion, is to smoke them. Take a bunch of them, smoke them with like some applewood chips or something. Really get that smoky flavor infused and dry them out that way. And then grind them up into a spice. Mix that with some salt, a little bit of garlic, and some white pepper to add that real quick like burst of heat. Because ghost pepper is a little bit longer in the buildup. And then there you go. It's good stuff. I quite like it. Anyway, I have some growing. They're just not as nice as these. So I picked up a couple extra as insurance, really more than anything else. I also picked up strawberry planter, just full of strawberry plants, and it has, I don't know, 10 runners or so coming off of it. And the runners have 3-ish plants each, which the planter itself was like $25. And I think it has, well, they were selling individual little pots like this with one plant in it for $2.50. So I definitely made out ahead on that. But what I'm going to do is I've got the, well, here, I can just show you. Spin around. You can kind of see it way out there. You can see it sitting there in the sun. It's just sitting there. I watered, I level of dirt in the planter is tall enough, so I just set it on top, spread the runners out, and yeah, there we go. Here, I might as well take you over here. Behold, a happy apple tree. Behold a not so happy apple. This made me very grumpy. There were deer in my yard. I chased them out with my bare fists. Don't ask me what I was expecting to do if the deer did not run. They did, thankfully. But anyway, there's this. It looks like I might need to moisten that soil up again soon. Everything there looks good. All right. Yep, there's the leaves doing their thing. Okay, so here's everything hardening off. It looks nice. And the only thing to really take note of here, you can see Solana matripurpureum here. It's doing pretty good. I got a little bit of leaf, vertical leaf curl, which means it's too hot. And the sun is too intense, so I got to take this stuff inside.
Hello, Alistair. Welcome to the Breezeway. Mr. Alistair Meowley. Alright, folks. Like a big, dumb, stupid head yesterday, I recorded roughly 40 minutes worth of content and did not bother to hit the record button. I wish I could say I was surprised, but I'm not. So, what we're going to do is I'm going to redo some of that content now, because I think some of it's actually fairly important. So I'm going to open up the garage doors here and head on out to the backyard.
Hardening off. Let's discuss what it is and how to do it. So, hardening off is where you take plants that you have grown inside a sheltered location, such as inside a shed or your garage or your basement or even on a windowsill inside your house, something that you would have been growing under grow lights, and you bring it outside and let it experience the full blazing glory of the sun. Now, there's a couple reasons you want to do this. Reason number one, it introduces your plants and acclimates them to the full power of sunlight. Pretty much no matter how powerful your indoor grow lights are, they are not going to meet the power of the sun, obviously. And even if you have a south-facing window, the amount of light that is blocked by the window, such as like UV or things along those lines, will also prevent the plants from getting the full effect. Still better than nothing, but you get the point. The other reason, as you can see here, it introduces your plants to wind. And wind is important for helping strengthen stems. Also gets them acclimated to the temperature outside. So there's a lot of different things that it does, and is pretty helpful. So why would you want to acclimate your plants? So if you were to take these plants and you just take them from inside your house and you bring them outside and you plant them in the ground, they will start turning horribly yellow and could possibly die from the shock. This is basically a variation of what I accidentally did to my blueberry bushes, which are recovering finally, thankfully. In my case, it was temperature I did not acclimate them to. I was hardening them off outside and had been doing it for like a week. Everything was going good on that front, but I was doing it while it was 80 degrees outside. And then I planted them in the ground when it was 40 degrees outside because I was like, oh, it's less hot. This is less stress. This is good. Failing to take into consideration that the blueberry plants are like, hey, it was 80. Why did it just dip below freezing? And so they didn't like it. Also, I apparently didn't harden them off enough against the sun as well. So yeah, it was kind of a double whammy on those poor plants. Anyway, I am hardening these off. And because I don't want to do that to these. I want them to do a bit better. So the way to do this is you're going to bring your plants out, and you don't want to do it on a day like today. Not the first day anyway, where everything is bright and sunny and just full of, there's literally no clouds right now. It's just extremely bright. And you don't want to start your plants off, hardening off on a day like this. You want to start on a day, if possible, where it is cloudy. Overcast would be best, like an overcast, sort of slightly cooler day. That would probably be the best. Otherwise, you're going to get, your plants are going to stress really quickly. You'll start to see yellowing of the leaves. The plants will get a little droopy, which that's probably just, due to it being hot. You might get your leaves curling under. That is because they're trying to reduce the surface area. Now, the big thing to really watch out for, though, is the yellowing of the leaves and leaves that curl upwards like this. You do not want leaves that curl upward because it is very difficult for that to undo. And I do have a couple plants, which I don't know if you can see them. I'll pull one out and show you. So here's an example of one where the leaves are curling upwards. Now, the reason these leaves are curling upwards is because it just got too hot in the shed for too many days in a row. There was a day where I swear it must have been 100 degrees in the shed, and the plants, a lot of the plants actually started to show a little bit of stress because, it's 100 degrees in there. There's no real wind. I've got a fan going to help, strengthen the stems and whatnot, but yeah, it's just too hot. I need to figure out some way to put like an automated ventilation fan or something probably up in that vent. Haven't done it yet. Going to need to for next year, I think. It's like another little side project to do along with the fertilizing. Or not fertilizing, insulating that I need to finish. So moving on. What you're going to want to do when you start, that looks like a cabbage moth. Get out of here. I'm easily distracted, all right? So, okay. To start the process off, you're going to want to bring, preferably on a cloudy, overcast day, your plants outside. You're going to sit them outside for an hour, maybe 2, depending on how kind of cloudy it is. Then you're going to take your plants inside, and that's it. That's their exercise for the day. The next day, you do it for 2 hours. Day after, you do it for 3, and you just keep introducing more and more sunshine to your plants in an effort to get them acclimated, and eventually you're going to leave them out all day. Once you've been able to leave them out all day for a day or 2 and your plants don't show any signs of like excess stress or anything, you are then good to plant them in the ground. Now, let's see here. My plan was to do the planting in ground 2 weeks after last frost, and last frost here was April 26th, which would make it May 10th, which would be, is that today? That might be today, or maybe that was yesterday. One of those days. So my stuff is not quite ready for in-ground planting, unfortunately, but it's almost ready. Like these plants are up to 4-ish hours now. So by the end of the week, they'll be ready to plant in ground. And I mean, they're doing good, so should be fine. Got a bunch of tomato varieties here. Got some kale, well, actually, that's still in there. I got kale and cabbage in there. 2 cabbage plants over there. Some borage, some peppers, some eggplants, spinach, which spinach probably doesn't particularly like this heat, but that's all right. So, what happens if you don't harden off your plants? We already kind of covered that. Blueberry plants, that's a great example. Your leaves will turn red, or they will turn purple, or they will just turn yellow and go crispy and fall off. And the plant can definitely die from that stress, so it's best to harden your plants off for at least, I don't know, I would do it for a week at a minimum. It's really going to kind of depend on your climate and your plants, but thank you for that. But yeah, best to just do it until you're leaving them out overnight. Or not overnight. Well, I mean, you could leave them out overnight. That's fine too. But yeah, once you're able to leave them outside for the day, then you should be good. So that's hardening off. Now, I'm going to talk about a couple other things, and while I'm doing that, I'm going to start bringing out the rest of my plants. Now, on a hot day, when you're hardening them off, it's probably a good idea to introduce a little bit of moisture to the soil. It's not a bad plan. That way your plants don't dry out too fast. Here's some flowers. Various sorts. Some of them are awfully big for the size of the cell that they're in and need to be planted out. The flowers are actually one of the things that are pretty close to being ready. So here's my cabbage and kale. Cabbage has seen better days. Kale looks great. Cabbage, on the other hand, looks like it got a little leggy. And is crispy-fied a bit. I don't know what happened there. But considering that the other cabbages don't look like this, I have to think that this was a watering issue. Because yeah, these like look fine, but then you look at like this one, it's very lanky, leggy. That one's pretty leggy. Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. Kale looks great though. I ordered some netting, and I'm gonna place that over some U-posts and secure it down, and then I can just keep the entire brassica bed free from cabbage moths. So that should be helpful. All right. Strawberry plants. As you can see, these have, I mean, they're doing all right. I've got some spots here where they're not as healthy as they could be. But overall, I'd say they're doing okay. I've actually got a runner on one of them. I should cut that off, honestly. I'd like it to take root, but I don't know what I'm going to do with that. I'll probably cut that runner off. Actually, yeah, I'll just do that now. Get my little snips. Snip, snip. Go find the runner and snip it off. There we go. I don't think that's going to take root in time, so what I'll do is I'll leave this as is right now, but I'll put it in the strawberry bed. Maybe it'll take root, who knows. Worst case scenario, it just dies. Which I'm willing to accept that sacrifice. So yeah. Solanum atropurpureum. Malevolence. My plant for the single seed challenge. Let me put that down. Looks like it's doing pretty good, honestly. I did have one of the first leaves fall off due to stress. As you can see, I've got a little bit of curl at the edges of the leaves here, which means this plant got too hot. And if this plant thinks it's too hot, it's too hot. This plant is a native to South America and not the cooler parts. So yeah, if this plant freaks out about the heat, then you know it's too hot. Also, there's evidence that I overwatered a little bit. Things you can tell. I'll get in closer to the camera here. So, make sure that you can see this. All right. So as you can see, I got a little bit of spots here on the leaves, on the tips of the leaves. And those spots are basically from the cell walls of the plants bursting due to excess moisture uptake. The cells just take the moisture in and then explode. So you'll see it looks like little dimpled bumps like this. And then eventually it turns into like little spots where the leaf is dying. So yeah, between that and some other things looking a little on the lanky side, and I've had a couple things like dampen off, I am overwatering, which is a very easy mistake to make. But overall, I'd say this plant still looks pretty healthy. I've just got a couple little blemishes on the leaves now. There's not really much in the way of yellowing. And as you can see, it's getting its nice spikiness and coloration. So yeah, Solanum atropurpureum, also known as malevolence, or the 5-minute plant. Look at the spikes on the leaves, man. This is a sinister plant. And also the leaves are taking on their darker green coloration too, so that's nice. This whole thing is just looking delightful, and I'm quite happy with it so far. Hopefully it's happy with me, but I guess we'll see. So, I'm on vacation this week. And I am on vacation this week because I wanted to wire. There are a bunch of anthills in here.
Oh, okay, that's not good. A little bit of borax, a little bit of powdered sugar, a little bit of water. Mix it into a paste, put it on a little dish, set it down right next to the ant hills. And your ant problem will take care of itself shortly. Ants can't digest borax. It is a very effective yet natural I didn't move the tray out of the way. I got to do that still. It's a very effective and natural poison to use against ants and their silliness in this case. I don't want them moving into the shed. Who knows what nefarious ant plans they have. So I'll have to take care of that. But yeah, borax. And actually, I can show you what that package looks like. And yes, I do mean what you'd use for detergent. Literally, this is the kind I have. I bought it specifically for this purpose. Milliard borax powder. And again, it's basically a 1-to-1-to-1 ratio of powdered sugar, borax, and water. And you just mix it until it's like a paste. And then little dish, put it down by the nests, and they take it into the nests and then die. They spread it around for a bit too. It doesn't kill them super fast, but it kills them fast enough. Not a good time to be an ant around here, I'll tell you that. I've got little dishes specifically for this purpose somewhere too. Anyway, so yeah, I didn't know I was going to be covering that today, but there it is. Oh, right, tray. Oh, look at all that asparagus. Now you'll notice a lot of it is falling over. And that is the asparagus that started growing before I put a fan in the shed. So everything that didn't fall over that is asparagus has been growing with air blowing on it periodically. But the parts that fell over, they just didn't get strong enough in time. So again, it's important to have airflow to strengthen those stems up. Not terribly worried about it, but yeah. All right. Here we've got endive, some Aztec spinach, and some more tomato plants. Oh, and some Malabar spinach. I know not everybody's on the liking Malabar spinach boat with me. I like it enough. I'll put that in as a caveat. Malabar spinach is fine. It's a great ornamental. I like it more for its ornamental properties than for its edible properties, but it is edible and it doesn't taste bad by any means. It's just thick. For lack of a better term, the leaves are leathery. But since I have a bunch of trellises, thick leathery leaves that are dark green with bright red stems, good stuff. It's the lemon tree with a bunch of new growth. The heck was that? Oh, there's somebody on the other side of the fence. On the other side. Okay, anyway, this is what Malabar spinach looks like, growing from seed. So yeah. When it gets full-sized, the leaves are darker green than that. They're like closer to this. And the stems are still that bright red color, so they're quite nice. I want to put this in with the strawberries, I think. So that way I don't have to move everything around individually as much. To make sure it actually gets some sun. That would help. We have one other thing I want to talk about today. Actually, a couple other things. So, that's all the plants that need hardening off. I have a climbing rose that got damaged in shipping that I'm trying to help still in there. I don't know if that's going to work or not.
And let's see. I also have some willow that's in there that's left over from the first attempt at willow. The one that I potted up and put outside looks like it's now dying off, so I don't know what's going on with that willow. The stuff I planted in the ground is still doing good, so at least there's that. So anyway, there's this stuff. And let's go talk about the other thing. Or one of the other things. So the other thing is the project I'm going to use that lavender for. I'm going to be building a decorative arbor. No, it's not really an arbor. It's more just like an archway style trellis. No, I'm just going to start that over because all of that was wrong. So the other thing I wanted to talk about was that I'm going to be building a trellis to hold some taiga clematis. Now, I've never grown clematis, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to build this trellis and set it up in that spot over where I had the community post showing where the lavender is. I got to get the rest of the weeds out of there, plant the lavender, and then I'm going to build this trellis and stick it in place. And soon the clematis will arrive, and that will be a good time. Get that planted, trained to go up the trellis, and everything should be pretty fantastic. I'm going for a kind of a lime to purple color scheme there above ground, and then at ground level I'm going to be planting dragon's blood. I think that's what it's called, which is like a type of succulent ground cover, and see how that does. So yeah, that's the plan. Hopefully some of this was informative, and thanks for stopping by and watching. Till we talk again. Yeah, I think that trail recovered just fine. So, it's just going to take some time, slows it down. Unfortunate, but that's nature, and unfortunately, nature isn't always on your side here. My microphone died halfway through that little bit, and so you can't hear most of what I'm saying. It's great. Oh, I paused the video and I never unpaused it. I just recorded, well, clarification. I just failed to record 40 minutes worth of stuff. That's great. That's great. Oh, I am so happy with my life choices. Okay. So, hardening off. Let's just start from the beginning. Hardening off, what it is, and how to do it. At this point, I am just going to angle this up, actually.